Welcome to part 27 module 1 computer networks. So we were discussing the TCP/IP model followed by our discussion on the ISO/OSI reference model. So in TCP/IP model, as we already seen, it is found to be 4-layer model, and those 4 layers we were discussing, and we already seen the link layer and internet layer. Now we move on to the next layer, that is third layer of TCP/IP model, that is a transport layer. If you look at ISO/OSI reference model, this transport layer is the fourth layer, right? Physical layer, data link layer, network and transport layer, but here it is as that physical layer is not there, it is coming as a third one. So transport layer, with the general view, you already have the same concept applicable to TCP/IP also, but how it is being treated by this model is like, as I already told you, they come up with the protocol first and then they made the layer. I mean, the functionalities, everything of the layer is defined with respect to the protocol in mind. So that makes TCP/IP different from the ISO/OSI model. So the core protocol, as you know, the TCP and the UDP, we will see that. So the layer above the internet layer in the TCP/IP model is now usually called as a transport layer. So it is designed to allow peer entities on the source machine and destination host to carry on a conversation, just as in the OSI transport layer. So this transport layer is going to provide the endpoint of communication, so that is the process to process communication. So the two end-to-end transfer protocols have been defined here. So the transport layer, end-to-end layer. So the protocols of transport layer can be called as the end-to-end transfer protocols, right? So the first one, that is the transition control protocol, then the user datagram protocol, UDP. So let's start with TCP. So as we already know, or the same thing I discussed in the when we discussed that ISO/OSI reference model also. But the thing is that in ISO/OSI, just to give a link of this protocol with the transport layer, I discussed there. But a model as a whole, they are discussing the transport layer functionalities only, not the protocol, right? The protocols were coming into picture when it comes to TCP/IP model only. So TCP is, just recall all those things we already seen. So it is a reliable connection oriented protocol. So where when it comes to UDP, that is an unreliable connection less protocol. So before starting any communication, if you are using TCP, connection establishment phase will be there. So during connection establishment phase, between the sender and the receiver, some connection, the sender will be sending a request to the receiver asking for a connection, and the receiver, those service primitives will be running, like if the receiver is a server machine, it will be running that listen system call, service primitive, and it will be waiting for a connection from the client, and client will be sending a connector request, and upon the arrival of the connector request, if the server is ready to give a connection to the client, it will be replying back with accept and then send and receive. So like that the communication proceeds. So connection establishment means what? Resource reservation. So for this particular connection communication, resources will be dedicated, but in a temporary basis, not a permanent resource reservation. In the sense, once the communication is over, all the resources reserved for that will be released during the connection disconnection phase. So it will be proceeding in 3 phases: connection establishment, then data transfer, and finally disconnect phase. So that is how it is working. And reliable in the sense means the TCP is having the feature of retransmission. So somehow it will ensure that the data is correctly delivered to the destination. So it is depending on acknowledgement concept. So whenever something is received by the receiver, destination, it is supposed to send back an acknowledgement. The acknowledgement can be sent as an independent acknowledgement or as a cumulative acknowledgement for a number of communication together, but still that acknowledgement concept is there, and whenever this acknowledgement is not, the sender will be expecting that acknowledgement. So after a particular period of time, the acknowledgement is not coming back, the sender will assume that something happens for the communication, and it will be resending the message again. So for that, there will be some timer, the timeout timer that will be running at the sender side. It will be waiting for acknowledgement, and if no acknowledgement received till the timer expires, immediately it will retransmit all those information that are sent at the beginning of the at the beginning of that particular timer, the point at which it started counting. So in that way it will ensure reliability by means of retransmission. and that allows a byte stream originating on one machine to be delivered without error on any other machine in the internet. So TCP is basically means ready to handle. So it the base in the unit of information in case of transport layer, particularly TCP, is what we call as segment. Now within a segment you can imagine a segment as a sequence of bytes. So byte is something the further unit of communication, in the sense say it will be treating segment as a whole. So every segment will be treated as a byte stream, and particularly the TCP is using something called a sequence number for ordering purpose, and it will be providing a sequence number for each and every byte. So it is focusing each byte. So the input is a byte stream and output also is a byte stream. So in that way the protocol is working. So it allows a byte stream originating on one machine, that is a sender, to be delivered without any error on any other machine in the internet, that is a destination. Without error in the sense the transport layer is taking care of, if you are using TCP, it is taking care of error control by using some error detection algorithm, and the popular error detection algorithm that we are using in the transport layer is checksum, and we will see how this checksum is calculated when we are discussing TCP in detail. Now it segments the incoming byte stream. See, incoming byte stream is divided into different segments with some segment boundary into discrete messages and passes each one onto the internet layer. So internet layer is a layer below this transport layer. So input byte stream, in the sense the application layer will be generating. So above transport layer we have the application layer, so that is what is being communicated with the user, and from that application layer the information, the incoming message which is in the form of a byte stream is divided into different segments, and those discrete messages, that is segments, are passed through the it will be handed over to the internet layer, and it will through link layer it will be reaching the receiver side, and when it is reaching the receiver side, again from the internet layer it will collect a sequence of segments, and it will reassemble the segments together, and it will be delivered to the layer above it. So at the destination, the receiving TCP processes receiving TCP process reassembles the messages received into the output stream, and it will be given to the higher layer, that is application layer, that is running at the receiver side. So this reassembly in the sense segmentation and reassembly, the segments it is ultimately going through the and the internet layer is a connectionless layer, right? So each segment will be taking different path, and the delivery of these segments will be the time even may be varying, like segment 2 may be arrived first and followed by segment 1. Those things are there, but still connection orientedness means even though it is following different path in the internet layer, but when it is reaching at the destination, that it will be delivering the information to the higher layer in the way like there is a permanent connection, in the sense the ordering will be happening, right? Ordering by means of sequence number. So every segment will be given this sequence number, and even though a particular segment is reached out of order, with the help of the sequence number it will reorder the messages, and together it will deliver the information at the receiving process, just like it is being coming from through a connection. So it will create that connection. There is a permanent connection, that kind of a feel the receiver will be getting. So that is the thing. So all those things are only for TCP, but when it comes to UDP, there is no such ordering of the messages, no feel of connection, nothing. So TCP also handles the flow control to make sure fast sender. So I just want to tell you, like, this connection orientedness is something more than what I was trying to say, and you will get a full feel of it when we are discussing this TCP only. So for the time being, here it doesn't mean that a permanent connection is established, just like in telephonic conversation, permanent connection establishment will happen, and even though you are communicating or not, that will be just dedicated for it. So here the concept is slightly different, the resource reservation only, and that ultimately this transport layer is running over the internet layer, and internet layer is purely connectionless service it is providing. So together, if you are using TCP, you will get the feel of a connection oriented service, but it is achieved in a different way, not by having a permanent connection. So flow control also, normally this flow control is something done by the link layer, or particularly data link layer as per OSI reference model. So where the flow control means hop to hop flow control. So when it is the sender is sending from that point to the immediate next hop, whether the speed balance achieved from that machine to its next hop. So hop to hop flow control, error control, etc. were done by data link layer. When it comes to TCP IP, the link layer, then end to end. So when it is being sent by the sender, whether it is correctly received by the receiver, correctly in the sense end to end error control will be done. Similarly, whether the sender and the receiver are able to match their speed and without any problem they can continue their communication or not, that is the end to end flow control. So to make sure a fast sender cannot swamp a slow receiver with more messages than it can handle. So such a situation should not be there. That is ensured by TCP, again flow control. So you can see that it is a very powerful protocol, flow control, end-to-end error control. So many things were done more than what is being listed, and the ordering of the messages, the concept of acknowledgement, retransmission. So like that, it is a very powerful protocol. And one more thing I want to note down, the congestion control also the TCP is able to do, and we will see this in detail when we are discussing the TCP maybe in the last module. Okay, so for the time being you should get that feel. It is not a simple protocol just like what we already seen. Different protocols even IP itself is handling many things, but when it comes to TCP, variety of tasks were done by it: flow control, congestion control, error control, everything it is doing, right? The ordering of the messages, acknowledgement, retransmission, like that. So that kind of a strong protocol is what TCP. But when it comes to the next one, UDP, it is just working in the opposite manner, and you will be wondering why it's such a protocol. So we will see that. So UDP stands for a user datagram protocol. So if TCP is reliable, UDP is unreliable. If TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless protocol. Okay, so you can keep this in your mind even for your last module. If they are asking this difference between TCP and UDP, you can simply point out these things. But there are more things that, if time allows, we will see in the last module. Okay, so it is a connectionless, unreliable protocol for application that do not want TCP sequencing or flow control and wish to provide their own. So in the sense, if an application layer protocol is depending on the transport layer for sequencing, flow control, etc. for their message, then they can go for TCP as a choice. But if the application layer, two cases are there, they don't want such facilities. Like I am okay, still I am getting the messages out of order. I am not worrying at all about the ordering of the messages. So other thing, I don't have to depend on the transport layer for ordering, flow control, etc. I have my own way of doing it, right? So it's up to the application layer whether it has to depend on the transfer layer for this flow control, sequencing, etc., or it can have its own routine for doing it. If that is the case, no need to use TCP. Simply it can make the transport layer light by depending on UDP only. But if the application layer has to depend on the transport layer for the sequencing of the message, that is an easy task, because application layer can focus on the application part. For example, if it is file transfer protocol, it can simply focus on the file transfer and the related issues. And if it is web application, HTTP, and all these protocols are actually depending on TCP, whether it is a file transfer protocol, FTP, HTTP, the one we are using in the for the web access, then the SMTP protocol we are using for the email communication, and all these things were actually depending on the TCP protocol and not the UDP. but there are certain protocols which have their own way of implementing flow control and sequencing, the other stuffs, even congestion control, whatever it is, the application layer can also do that. Then it can go for UDP. So that is one case. Now in another situation where we are using this UDP, we are depending this UDP in the sense you have to understand it like this: it is unreliable, there is no connection establishment phase, there is no disconnection phase, so it will be faster compared to TCP, because in TCP we are spending some extra time for establishment of the connection, for disconnecting it, and also we are spending extra time for running the flow control algorithm, congestion control algorithm, etc. But in UDP nothing is there. There is no flow control, there is no congestion control, nothing, right? There is no ordering of the messages, so you don't have to run the reassembly algorithm at the receiver side. So all those time you can save. It will give you a faster communication, but unreliable in the sense there is no guarantee that once you send a message it may or may not reach a destination, because there is no retransition facility, nothing is there. So that is the idea. So UDP is widely used for what? Other than the means those applications which can provide the TCP additional functionalities by its own. So that is one scenario. And another case, it is mainly used for one shot client server type request reply queries and applications in which a prompt delivery is more important than accurate delivery, such as transmitting speech or video. So it's very important. Prompt delivery is more important than accurate delivery. TCP is focusing on accurate delivery of information. So that is how it is achieving reliability, retransmission, correctness, ordering, etc. But here accuracy we are ready to compromise if there some of the information lost on the way. I am okay, still I can manage. I don't have that much accuracy, but I need promptedness. I don't want to wait for long time for retransmission, etc. I just want my service to be done fast. So that is where we are using UDP. So for example, transmitting a speech or a video, when it comes to video communication, you are downloading a file. Some of the intermediate means, it's a particular moving picture means a number of single slots together will make it, right? So if one of them misses on the way, still you can recover the original message. Some clarity loss will be there, but most of the time we don't even focus that much. If the clarity is compromised too much, then only it will be a problem. But little bit of clarity loss, no one cares. But if it is a text message, you can't go like that. So for file transfer, you are using UDP means some of the information is missing and it is delivered in the file, and when it is being read by the receiver side user, he will be getting interpreting it as a wrong information. So that we are not ready to tolerate. So that is where we are using TCP. But for audio multimedia communication, you can go for UDP, okay, because we need prompt delivery rather than accurate delivery. Accurate is to some extent we are ready to compromise. And another one is one shot client server type request reply protocol. So just like I told you, the protocol is just running for a single request and a single reply kind of thing. For example, something domain name system we will see maybe in the application layer. So DNS, it is something, you are writing the URL, something www.google.com, right? So once you type that URL, that is something the human being can remember, google.com, but you can't, it is difficult for you to remember the actual IP address of that particular Google server. And not only that, same time the Google server, there will be a number of Google servers, so time to time they will change the server for providing the service depending on the traffic on it. So suppose you remember the IP address of a particular server and you are trying to contact that using the IP address, sometimes it may be busy and you may not get the service. But if you are just typing www.google.com, we have a service, that is a DNS service, that is running on the background, and that will take the domain name from you, that is www.google.com, so that domain name, and it will so there will be some kind of DNS table where mapping will be there between domain name and all possible, if it is running on more than one server, the IP address of all of them, and which is currently free, and its IP will be returned and further communication will be happening using that IP address, like that. So domain name to IP address, that conversion. a single domain name is given, a single IP address is written, so single request, single reply time. Or simply you are like what I told you, you want to know the time, in the sense, in different part of the world we have different timing concept, right? Time zone will be different. So when it comes to network communication, whether it is 9 o'clock 9 a.m. In India, if your message is reaching at some other country, and where it may be 6 p.m. or some other timing, right? So how this is happened, I mean, how that time synchronization is happening, that is normally with the help of a common shared time clock. We call it as the say UTC clock, universal time coordinator clock, something. And that will provide a uniform notion of timing to all machines which are part of the computer network, and they are not depending on the local timing or the timing with respect to the time zone of that particular country. Simply everyone will be tuned with the time being provided by UTC. So to that UTC, you want to know the current time, so you will be asking what is the time, and it is replying back, something like that. So that is again, we have a network time protocol, that kind of things, and they were also using this UDP, in the sense it is just a single request and a single reply. So that is one more scenario. So I think with that we can end up this video. So here we discussed only the transport layer, as it is more important. I spend this much time. The transition control protocol and the user datagram protocol. Transition control protocol is providing you reliable connection oriented service with the sequencing or ordering of the message by using sequence number kind of things. Acknowledgement is there, retransmission is there, flow control, congestion control, like that many things were there in case of TCP, and nothing is there for UDP. It is an unreliable connectionless protocol. It will just provide the data transfer, that's all. But where it is used, if you want to save your time, if prompt delivery is important than the accurate delivery, or if your application is in need of a like a single request, single reply, then no need of any connection establishment or disconnection, nothing. Simply you can ask it and you will be getting the reply back. So by that the communication is over, right? And this flow control, nothing you have to worry. Suppose you are not getting the reply, then you can run it on more time and you will get it. But for a continuous sequence of data transfer like FTP or web application, something, you can't go for UDP. So or if your application is more bright and it is capable of handling the sequencing, etc., flow control, etc., by itself, then also it don't have to depend on transfer layer for such service. That time also it can go for a light version in the transport layer, that is the UDP. So user datagram protocol, yeah, that's all. Thank you.